So what up, Enter Team? Welcome back. So today I'm back to reacting to more true story scary animations. So originally I was gonna upload a different video today, but I don't know why lately I've been noticing that my videos are kinda slow. Like the audio is actually faster than the gameplay, which I don't like at all. It and it messes up my videos, and I don't like it. And I've noticed that X recorder, the video recording screen that I was using thing, uh, I thought it was because of Power Director, the thing I used to cut my videos. But apparently, it's not because of Power Director. It's just in generally the videos are late. Just in general, which is why I switched to this new app. It's pretty similar, which is good, and I find it better. And because I couldn't upload that video today, I just decided I'm just gonna react to true story scary animations, since that's the other best thing I can do. And I know you guys like them, I like them too, so why not? And I guess we should just get on to the first one of today. So, Jesus, my whole phone almost fell. So, I'll see you there, guys. Okay, so the first one for today is there is something outside that you don't know about, which I don't like the title, but I'm here to react to scary stuff, and this sounds like scary stuff, so let's get to reacting. And I just realized that my volume's probably down. Yes, it is. That should probably be up a little bit.
Sometimes you never truly know what is out there until you've seen your nightmares come to life.
I don't like the
I
start
was
of that.
about 21 years old the day I realized its true meaning. At the time, I worked in a warehouse for minimum wage. There was this dark corner in the very back of the warehouse, which every employee knew about. It was an unnaturally cold place with stale air. I felt like it was alive, watching closely over your shoulder.
Stop. That's
Despite
not a
having
good
an old
image.
factory light hanging directly over the shelves, it was never a
But
bright
what's with
one.
this stupidly small budget for these kinds of places? Of course they're gonna be scary. If you buy those damn light bulbs that go all the time, who does? Why? Why is it every single time that there's at least one of those in a storage room? Every single time I've seen anything about a storage room, it's something with that kind of light. I don't know, man. Jeez. And like, I haven't actually done any jobs because I'm not actually 18 yet. So I don't want to be scared of going to work like.
Place. My job was to stand and scan all of the items on the shelf, along with pick lists, which were printed lists with items on them. The models would wear these items, and then I would put them back where they belonged.
Oh, so it's like a
It was a
clothing shop.
Wednesday, and my team leader handed me a pick list of items for the models to wear. It was my job to get them to the studio for fitting as soon as possible. A hat, check. Some shoes, check. And then the third item, sweater. When I arrived at the dark corner, there was a woman standing near one of the shelves. I could hear her breath shaking as she was hunched over it, scanning each item as quickly as she could. Occasionally, I would hear her say the F word as she scanned the many items, trying to find the one she was looking for.
I mean, I I don't know. Is that like, I don't know how weird that is. I mean, somebody, if she spent a lot of time in a like scary place like that, I'm pretty sure it's appropriate that you can say the F word a couple of times. I don't know why she's making it sound like such a big deal. I'm pausing too much.
I looked at my pick list and searched for the shelf number. At every step, my body would come closer and closer to the very corner of the warehouse. I could feel something staring at me. It felt like they were a foot behind me. I
The
looked at the
girl,
shelf and
woman.
took another few steps towards it. The deep beating in my chest grew, and the urge to look behind me became the only thought in my head.
I don't like it.
I finally looked. There, behind the woman, was a manly figure with long arms coming out of his back. The
It's
arms
Slenderman.
dripped with black smoke. The beating inside of my chest grew louder and louder until I could even hear it. She didn't even notice.
Like
She
Slenderman.
didn't even see it, but I could see her arms shaking. The figure wrapped his arms around her and pushed her body into his, as though his chest could feel hunger. I didn't know what to do. It's not like she could see it. How am I supposed to tell her to run if she can't even see him? Frozen, I stood there, watching this thing wrap himself around my coworker. Then he saw me. He saw me looking right.
Shut up. I don't like when Okay. You know that thing when you're just sitting down and you hear a stupid noise somewhere? And you're like, oh, that's nothing. But when I'm watching something scary and I hear a noise, that something that was nothing is now everything. That's terrifying. Stop making noises. It's like this shelf thingy. It does that sometimes, but I don't like it. Not now, at least.
At him and noticed I could see him too. I looked down quickly at my pick list, hoping he would believe I didn't see him. If I just finish this thing, I can go.
Just
The
leave.
number for the shelf was JH243, which was the last shelf at the end. I was about 5 feet away from JH243 when I lifted my gaze up from the ground. Long, slender fingers slowly crept over the corner of the shelf.
I don't like this. This is a bad one to start off with.
The corner grew shadows darker than anything I could have ever imagined. Following the fingers was an inhuman head, ever so slowly creeping itself around the shelf.
Jesus.
I had to do this. I had to get the item as fast as I could so I could leave. Acting as though I didn't see him, my gaze locked on the shelf, and I grabbed the sweater I needed. One scan. It didn't work. I scanned again, and it didn't work.
You
A
sure you're
black
not on
shadow
something?
encompassed me. I could see the top of his head, but his eyes didn't come second. He didn't have a face. It was just a pit. As fast as I could, I grabbed the item the woman was looking for and hurried her away. After that terrible incident, a few weeks later, I hosted a birthday party at my house. My guests kept saying they heard whispering and ended up fighting each other during a cookout. I brushed it off as
Okay.
people playing jokes until I was alone and doing the dishes another day, and I heard this constant whispering like someone was right in my ear. I was so scared and thought my boyfriend was playing a joke to scare me, but he was at work, and my sister was also at work. I hung up the phone and then went into the kitchen, and all the drawers were open. Later that day, I was cooking in the kitchen and my
What is that
sister
thing
made a
that you're
joke
making?
about the house being haunted. While she was talking, a cross fell off the wall all of a sudden. I placed it back on the wall and she made a joke again about it being a demon. Then the cross came off again. And I told her not to worry about it because maybe the nail wasn't right and laughed it off. I placed the cross on a bookshelf nearby with its back on the surface. She was quiet after that until she made another joke to lighten the mood. The cross on the bookshelf, which was across from her, flew off horizontally. Weeks went on. I began
Jesus.
seeing this shadow in the morning when I woke up. I ignored it because no way was that real. It was just my imagination. I didn't know where else to go, so I went to the church for help, telling them everything I was experiencing, but they said they couldn't help me.
Why?
I tried sitting in the church, and all I heard was hissing. Literally, snakes.
And why did they make the priest look like some kind of, I don't know, he looks like some kind of like gang member or something. It was just a mustache, man.
Hissing. Like it didn't want me to listen. Not only that, but I went from a positive, happy person to a grim, hateful, resentful girl. Merely
Jeez.
wishing something happened to people was dangerous. My dad has been convinced to this day that I was possessed by a demon because of how much my personality changed. After that, I stopped accepting any guests. I started throwing up everything I ate and couldn't keep anything down until I was hospitalized for starvation. I
Jeez.
just remember the day I felt so weak and called 911. I was scared. I felt like I wasn't going to be here for much longer. Then, all of a sudden, there was a light that told me it was okay. I never knew what it was. After that, everything was gone. I was there for 3 weeks with mental evaluations, and they said nothing was actually wrong with my mental health. I don't know what is out there, but that experience scared me. And this is what made me realize that something is out there.
Wow. Well, that's a weird story, nonetheless. I don't really know what to say about that. I mean, it speaks for itself, so yeah. It did take me like 10 minutes to finish the first video, so I guess we should move on. So I guess I'll see you in the next video, guys. I'll see you there. The second I can pause this, because you know I suck. See? Okay, so the second one for today is I met a guy on the road who had no head. I don't know about that. We'll see, okay? We'll see.
My name is Jonathan. I live in an average apartment. There are main roads via my apartment, but there's also a shortcut too, which makes it faster to go to one of my friends, Nick's house.
Oh,
However, the weird thing was that nobody uses the road. I didn't know until I saw something on it that very day. One day, I went to
this is
visit Nick as
Minecraft.
usual. We played some kinds of games together in his house, having snacks. The
It's so
outside had
totally
become dark,
Minecraft.
and when I looked at the time, it was almost 10 p.m. Then my mom called me to get back home as soon as possible.
So,
She
I
seemed
stay
like
at
she
my
got mad,
house
so I packed my
friends at
stuff
8
quickly.
p.m.
I got out of my friend's house.
He's so loud, I can't commentate over it. I have to pause. So yeah, I just out to mention, I'm not super sure about every single one of these that I've reacted to that's actually true. Like was last video, the one with the house key thing? I don't believe that. That's not,
Walked for like
no.
2 minutes, and then I decided to walk through that shortcut lane this time.
Why?
Because it was completely dark, it gave me a chill. But I was in a rush, so I lighted my phone's flash and walked through the road.
I think I just heard a door. My mom is sleeping. What? Okay, I'm getting spooked, okay? I need to sit up straight. I'm gonna lower the volume down. I can't comment it over. I don't
It
like
was a
that.
straight road, and all the leaves and bushes were on the two sides. And the next moment became the most terrible memory for my entire life. While I was walking alone, my phone's battery suddenly died.
Jeez.
Holy
That's why I
crap,
always
I
charge my
mumbled to
phone.
myself. But at that moment, I was so freaked out. I made my pace quicker when I heard someone's footsteps. When I looked up, there was a figure in front of me that was almost black and invisible. All lampposts in that road were broken except two of them. But those two lampposts were
And how come
flickering
he's the only one who
continuously,
doesn't,
and the
like,
figure was slowly walking closer to my side.
he clearly has a head. It's
When
just
the light fell on his
chopped
face, I
slightly.
could see him, full of scars on his face.
Oh.
He had a cut in his throat, and the blood is falling out of his cut. I tried to ask him if he needed any help, but then he put his hand on top of his head slowly, and he picked it up. I could see his head was dividing from his body. And he was just standing there, holding his head in one hand and looking straight into my eyes. I couldn't even move because I was
Why?
so terrified at
He's
that
some kind of
moment.
magician.
All of a sudden, his head was laughing loudly and gave a shriek loudly at the very next. I stepped back and then he came in front of me again with big strides. This time, I could see those two lampposts which were flickering above him all went out. And I don't remember anything after that. The next morning when I woke up, I was in a hospital. It turned out that some guy who was jogging around found me unconscious on that road. My mother was sitting next to me with an anxious look.
I thought
So
nobody went there.
I told her my entire experience. When I finished telling her, she seemed a little
It's
surprised,
backwards.
and then she patted my back. She told me that there was a man who was murdered and beheaded by some gang members on that road a few years ago. But the police could neither find his head nor the criminal.
Am I?
Since then, lots of
Back-
people saw the same stuff as me, so they stopped using that road. Even now,
Might be like
whenever
Kevin.
I go to my home, I still ignore that frightening road and take another long path.
Of course
It would
they-
always make my heart sink, just thinking about that incident itself.
Okay, that was. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I don't know. You guys judge that one by if you think it's real or not. I'm not really sure about it, but whatever. Let's just move on to the next one, guys. Okay, so the next one I have for today, guys, is I have an unforgettable memory of a snowfield where I almost died, and I decided to sit straight up because my back is killing me, and I don't know what to do about it. And it's not helping right now, but let's just play this.
It was a normal, boring day in winter 2015.
Jeez.
I was at home and had nothing else to do that day since the snow was so heavy. So I told my mom that I was going for a walk with my dog.
Okay, can I
I
just say,
decided to take him for a...
winter is one of my favorite. It's not one of. It's my favorite season. Summer school and all that, but I like winter because we have winter break, and winter break is awesome. And I love it when there's snow. Snow is just so beautiful to me because like it's just when you look out the window in the morning, you just see everything being so white. It's just so pretty. You just can't not like that. And Christmas is my favorite holiday, which means I get to hang out with my friends. We get to eat super good food. It's awesome. And like, I mean, it is cold from time to time, but I like it because like I can sit in my blankets all day long, and not have anybody judge me. I know my mom is like, why are you always like with your blankets? Stop it. I mean, I'm not really right now because it's hot, but I used to do that during like fall and spring and winter, but she still judged me. I don't know. I'm gonna keep playing this and not talk about my life.
5-minute walk to the field near our house. And when we got
Okay.
there, the place was totally empty. I couldn't see anyone walking around. But I didn't mind though. So we started walking again for more
Yeah,
than
it's
5
double.
minutes. Then all of a sudden, I heard something. It was kind of like someone was moaning. I looked around to see where this sound was coming from.
It just turned into a really
And at that
weird.
moment, I saw it. There was a man wearing a dark black trench coat with his hood up and winter boots. Being frightened, I quickly ducked behind a tree,
I think
hoping
pretty
that he
solid.
didn't see me.
Yeah, right.
I laid down flat and ordered my dog to hide. He lay in the snow digging his mouth into it. The man stood there for a
Jeez.
while, and then he slowly walked off. A few minutes later, when I couldn't hear his feet anymore, I quietly got up and said to my dog, "Come." He followed me, and by this time, I heard the creepy moan again behind me. I was terrified.
Run.
I hesitated at first, but slowly turned around to see what was going on. Well, I hope no one ever has to go through something like this.
Run.
Because what I saw at that moment became the worst nightmare I've ever had in my whole life.
It's loud.
He was there. He stood there staring at me. But this time, he wasn't alone. There was also a woman next to him. And now they both had large knives in their hands. Especially, I could see that the woman was covered in blood and her bright smile was spreading across her face like she was insane. I started running away, calling my dog to follow me. I was almost halfway to the field, but then I accidentally fell to the ground and landed on a broken beer bottle.
What's with people when they're running for their life? Their their brain only thinks on running. I mean, you're panicked, but how do you trip over anything? He didn't specify if the snow was deep. I guess if it's deep, then it's gonna be harder to run in it, but whatever.
Penetrated the side of my leg.
But then you're on even
It
playing
was
field.
painful, but there was no time, so I used all my strength to pull out the broken piece. I managed to pull it out, but after that, it was hard to get up and run. I struggled to crawl on the field,
They're replaying the
spreading
animation.
blood in the snow. I knew that it was definitely visible to them, and they soon found me. The woman got close to me.
Throw
"Leave
a
me
rock at
alone,"
her.
I shouted to them,
She's just a
hoping
woman.
that someone would hear my voice for help. But no one was around. All of a sudden, my dog got in front of me and started growling at the woman.
Of course,
And when
it's your
she
dog.
kneeled down to stab me, he instantly jumped up and bit her neck.
Of course, it's your
She yelled
dog.
and swung around the knife on him. When my dog collapsed, injured on the ground, an uncontrollable anger surged up within me. I got up,
Damn
grabbed her knife, and
bastards.
stabbed her side. I started to choke her, but then a sharp pain penetrated on my back, and when I fell to the ground, I could see the man was standing behind me. I thought I was going to
Of
die.
course.
And in those few seconds, when I was about to close my eyes, bang! His arm was blown off. It was my neighbor living next to our house. He was holding a
Jeez.
shotgun in his
What a
hand.
savage.
He told me later that he'd went hunting, and when he visited the field, he heard my voice. His hunting dogs rushed up to the man and bit into his shoulder. After that, my neighbor got to me and tried to help me to stand up, but I told him to help my dog first instead of me.
What's wrong
And I
with you?
finally blacked out.
Oh, doggo.
When I
Man,
woke up again, I
so
was in
what
the
does the
hospital.
doggo do?
My family was standing next to me with my neighbor.
The
He told me
savage.
that after I blacked out, the police arrived with an ambulance and that my dog was taken to the veterinary clinic and survived by a miracle.
Oh, goodness.
A few minutes later,
Doggo.
a policeman came to report the information that the man who attacked me had been arrested, but the
And-
woman had died from shock. And it turned out that they were serious criminals, and when they were sent to the mental institution, he had escaped with the woman. After that, my neighbor lost the right to own a weapon because he shot at a person. But he didn't care, though. He just told me that he did the right thing to save someone's life. And he also said that he's just glad I'm alive. Well, I'll never forget about this incident, ever. And I will always thank my neighbor and my dog for saving my life.
Yeah, that's nice. Okay, well, that was a nice story, I guess. I mean, it's scary nonetheless, but nice. Yeah, I can't really say much about these. I just kind of react to them. I don't know what my complimentary should be for the end of these videos. So let's just get to the next one, I guess. Let's go. Okay, so welcome back to another one. So, this is, I met a girl at the airport, and she kept following me. It's weird. Let's just play it.
And this happened a year ago. I was at the Ninoy Aquino International Airport and about to check in, going to Dubai. I was standing in the line to check in
living
when
the
I
life of
noticed
a
that
good
someone was
person.
staring at me. It was a girl. She seemed like an ordinary girl at first, but then I noticed that her eyes were odd. They were open, very wide. She was smiling at me, but her smile was kind of annoying and crooked. I
You're
got
at the
creeped
airport.
out,
How
so
far can she
after I
follow
was
you
finished checking in,
across
I
the
quickly went
ocean?
through immigration and headed to the flight gates.
She just
Before
buys the
going to
same
the gates, I
plane
stopped
ticket.
at the restroom, and while I was
Last thing you want to do is get stuck in a plane with a stalker.
urinating there, I could hear someone faintly whispering outside. I could tell that it was a girl's voice. When I finally walked outside, I encountered the same girl who I had met at the check-in line.
What's up with this
was
girl?
just
Does she
standing
like
there.
you or something?
But then, I saw scissors in her pocket. I quickly pushed her, ran away, and hid from her for a while. 30 minutes later, I barely arrived at the gate.
Why?
And guess
Why? What's wrong with
who
people?
arrived at the gate? Right, the same girl was there again. She was literally stalking me the whole time. Right then, I was terrified. So when we started boarding, I made sure that I didn't make eye contact with her at all. Fortunately, my seat was apart from hers. So at least I felt a little relieved during the flight.
You're gonna die.
But this story didn't end there. When I arrived in Dubai, I quickly got out of the airport and headed to the currency exchange counter. While I was exchanging my money, I looked around several times, but there was no sign of her anywhere. I quickly grabbed my money, but the moment I turned around, my heart dropped. The same girl whom I'd met at the airport was there. She was staring at me, holding scissors. But this time,
How does
she
nobody
started
see her?
twitching bizarrely. Her smile became bigger and even scarier,
How does nobody notice her?
and she was walking toward me, closer and closer. It was almost 2 a.m., and there was nobody else around in that area.
What about the guy who just
I
gave you that
had
money?
no choice but to run, so I dashed quickly away and started searching for a taxi to get to the train station. Just then, I realized that the girl started to speed up to chase after me.
It's a girl.
Luckily,
Can't you defend
I
yourself?
narrowly found one taxi, and when I got in, it was a sigh of relief.
Wow, such a cliche
When I
moment.
glanced out the back window, the girl was standing there and was staring straight into my eyes. After 2 weeks, I went back to Manila. Of course, I didn't see her anymore after that night. However, the memory of that girl has been haunting me to this day. I haven't been able to forget her face.
The heck? I don't know what's up with those people. Why do they just go around scaring people like that? I mean, she was obviously not okay, but whatever. Well, I think I'm gonna have to end the video here, guys. I did want to react to more, but I'm running out of time. This is almost a half-hour long video. So yeah, I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit the bell to join the Soul Squad, best squad ever, and you'll never ever miss an upcoming video. I will have more stuff uploaded, but for now, this is gonna have to do. So yeah, I also have the link of wansee Entertainment's channel down in the description down below if you want to go check them out. They're really talented. And yeah, so I guess I'll see you next time. Bye. I can't close the video with one hand, so bye. Again, you know, I'm awful.